welcome to Author Showcase. I'm Tom Cannon.
I'm Dixie Jo Jarkle.
And I'm Stepheni Curran.
Welcome, Stepheni.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're here to promote your book, which is?
Rock on Kindness, Pass It On.
It's right here. And it's pretty. It's very nice. Tell us about the process. How did you decide to write a book, and how did you get it done?
How did the idea come?
Well, last summer, it was beginning of June, I was trying to find different ways to teach my kids about kindness and compassion toward, being compassionate toward others. I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and so I was looking for volunteer opportunities. We learned more about Girl Scouts. I'm actually a Girl Scout co-leader now, and then when we just happened to be at Schilt Park in Neenah, and we were walking around, and I was still trying to think of different ways I could promote kindness, and we happened to stumble across a painted rock, and on the back of it, it said Fox Valley Hidden Rocks.
Oh,
and
cool.
so I didn't really know about the Kindness Rock movement in Wisconsin, so I just went onto Facebook. I followed the instructions on the back of the rock, and that's kind of where it began. Then we started looking more into how we could participate in the Kindness Rock movement through Fox Valley Hidden Rocks.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, Oshkosh actually has 2 groups. There's Oshkosh Rocks and Oshkosh Positively Rocks right now. Those are the 2 main groups. And basically what people do, you don't have to be an artist to participate. Children like to paint rocks, adults like to paint rocks, and what you do is you get rocks. Most people get rocks from landscaping businesses. You can also get them from different home improvement stores or your own property. It is not a good idea to try to take rocks from someone else's property. That is
disclaimer.
Yes, nor any landscaping.
So are they big rocks or small rocks?
Everyone has their preference. Some people like to have smaller rocks. Some choose larger rocks. But the concept is you paint a rock. You write the information in the back. Usually the artist puts their initials. And then you bring it out into the world. You can put it in a park. You can put it outside of a business. You're not supposed to put it inside a business. But typically around parks is the most popular place. And then people, whomever finds the rock, then follows the instructions on the back of the rock and posts it to the Facebook group that it's associated with. And my kids just love it. It's kind of like an egg hunt almost, but we've collected all sorts of different rocks, and children have made the rocks, adults have made the rocks. You have art teachers participating and local artists. So it's pretty interesting, but that's kind of how...
then do you keep the rock? Or do you return it to the wild?
You can keep the rocks, you can rehide the rocks. What we have a tendency to do is we keep some of our favorites. We also like to give them away. The first rock we actually we gave away to a friend who was recently diagnosed with cancer, and so she was diagnosed in August, and so we gave one of our first rocks to her, so I don't actually have my first rock. So.
And then you
passed it on.
Yeah, we passed it on. Yes, we did. We passed it on.
So how did that come to you writing a book?
Well, I actually originally was writing the story for my children, and then as I was writing, I thought this could actually be really helpful and fun for other kids. I am a pediatric speech language pathologist, so I work with a lot of different children, and I thought just the concept of, I incorporated making predictions and a search and find feature within the story, and I thought my kids would enjoy it, and then I thought maybe some other kids would also enjoy it. So it's really for ages 5 through 10. So
did you publish this yourself, or was it?
Nope, it's through Orange Hat Publishing. I don't know if you can show the back. Orange Hat Publishing is based out of Waukesha, and Shannon Ishizaki is the owner, and then she has a team, and so I had a professional editor, Christine Woods, a professional illustrator, Samantha Williams, and so I worked with their team to publish, because I wanted to learn the process. I thought, I did look into self-publishing. I looked actually at Author House was who I was debating between Orange Hat and Author House, and I really, I thought Shannon and her team would really assist me in understanding the process and being able to push the idea forward and make it into a tangible
So tell
product.
us about the process. What did you learn for our
Well,
future
what I
writers out
learned
there?
is that for future writers, what I learned is when you create your manuscript, that is going to be one of many, many times that you will be looking at your piece of writing. I think especially when you're working with, prior to even working with Christine Woods, my editor, I asked some of my close friends that I felt would give me some constructive feedback, and they all represented different fields. I had friends that are teachers, special education teachers, friends that are nurses, speech-language pathologists, and I asked them to read my manuscript and give me some constructive feedback before I even started working with
So it was in
Christine.
pretty good shape. Okay.
Yeah, I felt it was in pretty good shape, but there was definitely room for improvement because I have different characters, and one particular character has Down syndrome. So I asked two of my friends who actually have children with Down syndrome to get their point of view and to make sure that what I put in the paragraphs for that particular character would really give justice to having a child with Down syndrome. And so I think as a new writer or just a writer in general, it's really important that you are willing to listen to other people's points of views and to not get really sensitive when people are trying to be constructive toward you.
Can you think of anything that they suggested? Because, speech pathologists is more than just, pronunciation. You're also talking about conversations and
Right.
communicating.
Well, one particular character I have, her name is Katie within the story, and she is born without legs, so she wears prosthetics. And so at first I was going to incorporate terminology like being unique. But then as I was reading that over again, and then also having my peer reviewers read about using the term unique, that we thought that we want kids who may have limb differences not to feel like they are
That different.
Set
that's
aside.
different. Yeah, and so I thought unique is not a good term. So again, just having other points of views and to make sure that, because the point of the book is being compassionate and kind toward others, and I wanted to make sure that the terminology I used was reflected well for each character, and that I gave each character justice. So that was kind of the point. And so I really enjoyed the peer review, and then Christine Woods, the professional editor, she helped me, especially with more technical writing. Even as a speech-language pathologist, I graduated in 2008 with my master's, so the last I took a technical writing class was back during my graduate school studies, so it was helpful to understand like the current trends and comma usage and things like that, because I'm kind of a comma queen. So I tried to.
Everybody's got their things.
Yes, so Christine, she really helped me with the technical writing aspect.
Did you choose the artist, or did they hook you up with the artist? Did you say?
Well, Shannon, actually, I had originally gone with a different illustrator, but she was pregnant and due with her, I think it was her fourth child in December, and just the timing, we thought it wasn't going to quite work out for her. Just that's a lot to take on, especially with having a newborn to care for. So so Shannon found Samantha, and she thought that Samantha's style of illustrations was a really good fit.
Yeah, it was really pretty.
And and I did ask Shannon what she actually used for how she created the illustrations, and she said using artist colored pencils, and then she used pigment ink liners to do the detail.
I don't even
so
know what
that's
that is.
yeah,
They look
and
beautiful.
I think others like in the art background might have more information. This is not my area. We do like to paint rocks, but I'm not the greatest at painting rocks. I'm better at writing.
But if you're writing a children's book, the illustrator is very important.
Yeah.
Very important, because especially when you have a range, when you're working with kids and especially with the story, it's ages 5 through 10.
Oh, okay.
So you have some children that are needing more assistance with the reading component, and so they really use those pictures to help convey meaning. And so I that was a very important piece, was finding an illustrator that really meshed well with the content of the story, so that kids really were interested in reading. But I've had really...
Flip through the book. Just, what is
Yeah.
that? Picture, take a picture walk, a finger walk or a picture walk? Where the kids just flip through the book? as well?
I tend to call it a picture walk. And we usually, what I like to do too is show them the cover, show a few of the first pages, and work on making predictions. But I did throughout the story incorporate the concept of making predictions, and they have to figure out which rock matches the particular character, and then they have to find it within the park scene. And the park is an actual park. It's Ohauser Park. That's in the village of Fox Crossing in the Neenah area.
Wow.
And so it's my family's favorite park. So it's a real park. You could Google it. So, yep.
So once you got it done, what type of marketing?
So you began, summer last year, 2017, aren't you?
So it was actually, I reached out to, after I had completed my manuscript, I submitted it to different publishers, and I chose to go with Shannon and her team through Orange Hat Publishing. And so it actually, the whole process began in August, I would say. It did not, it wasn't released to the general public until February, the week of February 20th.
So about 6 months, 6 months?
Yes. So, and
Still a fast turnaround.
That is pretty
That's
fast.
very fast.
Yeah, it is, especially seeing how Samantha didn't initially start as the illustrator, and Shannon sought Samantha out, and I mean, Samantha's very talented. And so, but yeah, so just basically later in February, it just came out. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Ingram Content Group.
Nice.
So-
What other things are you doing for promotion?
So I have a Rock on Kindness Facebook page, and I just on Friday was in my hometown of Antigo at the Boys and Girls Club, and I did a reading, and they had a rock painting activity. So that was on Friday. I also on, let's see, it was March 10th, I did kind of a book launch at the Neenah Public Library.
Nice.
We did a similar activity, a book reading, question and answer piece. I had some ladies from the community. Courtney Jean, she's a local country music artist. She sang a song about kindness called Spread It On, and then which was a cover song she sang. And then Jacqueline Corey, she's a local deaf interpreter, so she does sign language, and she signed the entire book when I was reading, so that was pretty interesting to see. So that was on March 10th, and then also prior to March 10th, my very first book event was on March 7th at the schoolhouse in Green Bay.
Oh, nice.
I'm learning a lot with the marketing pieces. I am a new author, and it that's probably been the most, that's been the learning curve for me, is learning how to market. And but yes, I'm going to be working with different public libraries, different schools, and boys and girls clubs, children museums.
So if you have an organization, and if somebody has an organization and they would like to hear you speak, how could they contact you?
My Rock on Kindness Facebook page is the best way to reach out to me. It's just rock on and then kindness, so 3 separate words. It's pretty, and it coincides with the story too. And they can message me on Rock on Kindness.
What's the future hold? Are you going to put out more books? Did you find the process was wonderful, or was it?
I thought it was
just
really
too much work. Or?
Well,
It's a lot of work.
I mean, it is a lot of work, but I think what's the most rewarding is just seeing the expressions on the kids' faces as they're reading, and how excited they get, making a prediction with the rocks, and then finding them within the picture scenes. So I would like to write more in the future. I think right in the meantime, right now, I just have to keep focusing on the Rock on Kindness book and promoting it and making sure that different communities are aware of it. Because most of my book touring will be in northeastern and central Wisconsin. So
And people that have young children are always looking for activities. So get them excited about it, and then they can go and go and do it for themselves.
Right, and there are so many different rock groups in Wisconsin. If you just go on Facebook, really, or even Google, and you type in painted rock groups, you will get a list.
Really?
There are so many
This
different
is a
rock groups.
thing, people.
It is a thing.
Rocks.
Fox Valley Hidden Rocks group right now has 10,500 members.
Wow.
Which is really mind-boggling because I grew up in Antico, Wisconsin, and we had less than 9,000 people in our entire town. And so to have that many people, and even the Oshkosh Rocks, and then Oshkosh Positively Rocks groups, collectively, I'm sure they're probably approaching over 2,000 people too, getting closer to 3,000 collectively. So I mean, these groups are becoming more and more popular, and I think because people are looking for ways to teach kindness, and
Yes.
they want to help their community. And I've heard so many stories of people saying that these painted rocks have come at really good times. One lady, her husband had passed away, and she found one outside of the hospital. I think she was in Oshkosh at Aurora, and she was leaving, and she happened to find a rock, and so she was. She just said the timing was just perfect. So, and she said she will always keep that rock. So I've heard some really touching stories of people just finding these painted rocks at an important time in their lives.
So what kind of message do they have on them then?
All sorts of different. Some rocks have pictures, and some people
Is
do
it on
a
the
ton
top of the rock, or do you have to pick it up and turn it over?
Well, typically on the one side of the rock has either an inspirational message, or else it has an illustration of some sort, and then the opposite side is usually the information if you want to post it to a Facebook group, because that's usually how most of the rock groups operate, is through a Facebook group. And so and everyone has different preferences as to what they want to write. I do more inspirational messages because I'm not the best at painting per se. I like to write, so I like to encouraging messages, really. But I mean, there's some people that they make one particular artist, I think in the Oshkosh Positively Rocks and Oshkosh Rocks groups, he's doing different sitcoms, and he does different character pieces.
Oh my gosh.
Some people do cartoon characters.
So a real opportunity to be creative.
Oh, yes.
And send out a positive message. Out in
Oh,
the community.
definitely. And I mean, and if you are struggling to figure out an idea as to what you want to paint, Pinterest, Google again, just going on to a local rock group, there are so many ideas. And sometimes they'll do themes too for a particular, like recently St. Patrick's Day. So there were a lot of people putting out St. Patrick's Day themed rocks out into the community. And kids love it, adults love this. It's actually very popular.
We did that in our Boys and Girls Club, and I kind of didn't get it at the time, that they were going to take the rocks and go put them out somewhere. But that's
Yeah.
kind of neat. The kids liked painting the rocks.
Yeah, and I think it's just a really good way to reach out to other people in your community, and it forms this, I don't know, kind of a bond within the community, because then you have someone who took time to paint the rock and put it out in the community, and then someone who takes time to find it and then post it back onto the Facebook group. And so you can, the artist paints it, and then whomever finds it puts it on, and then you can talk to one another on Facebook to say, hey, thank you for your time and energy.
Kind of tell their story about finding it.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. But yeah, so that's kind of what led to, I love the concept of kindness projects, and the Kindness Rock movement has been really beneficial to my family, and that's why I wanted to write a story about it.
Then you stumbled upon it. What color was it that you stumbled upon it to find out about the whole group of it, and that led to the story just by chance? Yeah,
it really, I think had I not stumbled upon that rock, I don't think I think eventually I wanted to write a story of some sort. I've always wanted to write a story, write a children's book, but I think the theme probably would have been totally different. I don't think I would have necessarily incorporated painted rocks had I not stumbled upon that particular rock that day at Schilt Park. So,
Oh, thank you very much for being with us today. Look up Rock on Kindness by Stepheni Curran. Thank you for being with us today.
yeah, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just, so if they want to contact you, go to,
The Rock on Kindness Facebook page, and I do have right on the homepage you can see there's a way to message me, and then I can respond to you as soon as you send a message. I get alerts on my phone, so and yeah, that's the best way to reach me.
and otherwise
my
the
Rock
book
on-
is on Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Yep, it's Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Ingram Content Group. It's $9.99 plus shipping and handling fees. I will also be selling my books when I do book events, which I'm currently, I began the book events in March, and I'll be going throughout the summer. And so when I'm selling those, it's $9.99 plus tax, so it comes to $10.50. So...
All right, well, thanks for
you very
sharing your
much.
story.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you'd like to be on Author Showcase, please contact us on our Facebook page or at OshkoshAuthorShowcase@gmail.com. Otherwise, continue the conversation with Dixie and Tom via social media. Look for Dixie by searching for Daisy Jericho, and please check out her books, The Love Thief and Sparks Fly, on Amazon. You can find Tom Cannon on many types of social media, and please check out his book on Amazon, The Tower of Apathy. Our goal is to introduce local authors around Oshkosh and hear their stories. We want to thank the Oshkosh Public Library and the Friends of Oshkosh Public Library for supporting the creation of this show. If you are a writer and are looking for a community, we suggest the Oshkosh Area Writers Club and the Lakefly Writers Conference held each May.